The pain of being left gave me something no one else did. Clarity, that strange sensation of vision clearing when we're left, emerges almost without warning. Your chest tightens, your throat goes dry, and then something inside you lights up. It's as if a thin veil, woven by others' expectations, tears from the inside out, revealing a scenario that always existed but was overshadowed by the desire to be noticed. This silent pain rips through the veil of illusion, and as it pierces, ignites a light that makes everything sharp. Pain and clarity walk together. Pain that wounds, clarity that embraces. Pain that destroys, clarity that builds. Imagine the sailor who, on a calm sea, doesn't feel the wind. They only feel the gentle sway of the boat. Only when the mast breaks do they recognize the invisible direction of the breeze. So it is with us. We're led to believe we're enough in the eyes of others until someone pulls away. And suddenly, we perceive the internal route that always existed. We notice the heart's detour, the shortcut hidden by the urgency of being seen. We realize that while we sought delayed applause, we ignored the constant breeze that blew within. Epictetus whispers to us softly, like someone sharing a secret. Only what I consent to harm. Well, clarity is born when we assume our pain is our territory, a ground no one treads but ourselves. When we stop lending others control over our pain and turn inward, we discover that wounded space is also a map of self-knowledge. It's there, among the scars and tears, that the truth about who we are reveals itself in precise contours. And then the question echoes, when was the last time you heard the silence within you? Not the empty silence, but the silence inhabited by your own question, by your own emotions that, unmasked, find a void. In this text, we'll walk through the pain of being left and together trace this path of light it ignited. We'll embrace the pain, acknowledge the blindness it exposed, and above all, celebrate the clarity that emerges when we accept that the value of existing doesn't depend on another's gaze, but on an attentive presence within us, the revealing wound. There's a deep anguish in striving so hard to be seen and yet feeling invisible. It's like pushing your body against a translucent wall, believing that every gesture, every word could penetrate and touch the other, but seeing only your own reflection. In this mirror of frustration, an internal confusion arises. It seems that our self-worth depends on others' gaze, that it's our fault when the other doesn't see us. But gradually, we realize it's not the fault of the one who suffered. It's a limitation of the gaze of someone who chose not to contemplate. The wait for recognition that will never come shatters the illusion that the other's absence is justified by our insufficiency. In the space that opens between pain and truth, a subtle invitation emerges to look more closely at the exact spot where it hurt. In the lines of a journal, unadorned or euphemistic, every crack in the chest is written. Every pang that insists on reminding you of your own vulnerability. It's as if the wound transforms into a stained glass window. Light passes through the pain and gives birth to previously imperceptible colors, revealing deep layers of our essence. If this wound could speak, what secrets would it tell about your inner strength? By naming what hurts, we discover that every scar is a fragment of truth, opening a window to the clarity that only pain itself can offer. The mistake of seeking external answers. There is an almost automatic movement of extending your hands in search of crumbs of recognition, hoping that a belated glance will fill the emptiness growing inside. It's like blowing on embers of an extinguished fire, under the illusion that another's breath will rekindle the lost warmth. In this stalemate, the heart gives away pieces of itself in exchange for a pause that always arrives late, like a broken promise. Every gesture of external seeking echoes in the other's silence, amplifying the feeling that nothing you give is enough to be seen. The distorted notion of self-control sets in when we believe that mastering emotions means silencing them, as if we were machines designed not to feel. Epictetus, however, reveals another facet. True control is choosing where to focus. It's not allowing the external wind to dictate the direction of internal thought. Clarity isn't born when the external confirms who we are, but when the serenity of inner silence reveals territories previously obscured by others' applause. It is in this serenity that the spark of truth is found, far from the empty echo of praise. In the space that remains when the external noise ceases, an unhurried question echoes. What would I gain if I didn't need to be seen to exist? It is in this moment of silence that the mind, free from expectations, discovers its own contours. The absence of applause is not abandonment, but an invitation to one's own presence. And in this presence, in the attention turned inward, the clarity emerges that no belated recognition could ever offer. The glimmer of perception. There's a fleeting instant when absence transforms into clarity, as if night gives up its darkness for a brief second. In this breath of light, the mind perceives previously invisible patterns, secret connections between reason and emotion. It's in this moment that emotional exhaustion, instead of succumbing, converts into a beacon. The pain of carrying others' dramas reveals itself as a weight that obscured one's own focus, and when released, allows you to clearly see your inner root. In the quietness of this flash, we understand that clarity doesn't arise by seeking solace, but by coming into contact with what hurt. Relief is not in silent external applause, but in embracing every repetitive thought without acting on it. When we dedicate just 3 minutes of the day to observing the flow of our own thought without judging, without erasing, we create a crack in the door of the mind that illuminates the dark room. Even with all windows locked, this glimmer reveals that often we live immersed in noise and demand, as if every second needed to be filled to prove some worth. Noticing the echo of an old memory or the persistence of a future worry, we feel that something inside demands attention. And it is at this exact point that clarity asserts itself, not as a balm that instantly relieves, but as an invitation to face what remains in the shadow, recognizing that every observed thought is an unveiled tessera in the mosaic of the self. Finally, we realize that this inner light doesn't need to be kept alive by external factors. It's enough to sustain attentive presence, like holding a candle flame in the wind. Thus, the glimmer of perception ceases to be just an instant and becomes a path. And clarity, once fleeting like a sunbeam between clouds, transforms into a constant companion on the journey of self-knowledge. The power of silent limit. We accept emotional invasions as if opening a door without realizing we're ceding ground. Small gestures, sharp words, expectations disguised as affection, all of this, little by little, erases the contours of your inner space. The feeling is of walking inside a labyrinth without knowing where you end and the other begin, until confusion settles like dense fog. When another's presence crosses the most intimate boundary, the mind loses focus and the heart becomes hostile to wills that don't belong. Stoic virtue reveals in silence the strength of a no, not spoken aloud, but manifested in a firm gesture. Recognizing the value of your own boundaries is raising the inner wall that preserves clarity. It's not about erecting cold barriers, but about keeping alive the flame that gives meaning to your own desires. A silent limit affirms who you are without needing external clamor. Saying no, even if only internally, doesn't push away those who truly care. On the contrary, it shows who respects the other's space and honors their own. It is in this contained gesture that trust grows, because clear boundaries illuminate the honesty of relationship. Like a dike closing an imperceptible crack, causing the lake to stop overflowing, the restored limit holds back the waters that invaded without respect, returning calm and depth to the interior. What space emerges within you when the limit asserts itself without fanfare? In this space, free from invasions, the clarity is born that only the thin line between the self and the other can reveal. The strength of a silent limit is not measured by its clamor, but by the peace it brings to the heart. The reconstruction of inner attention. There's an invisible error in living on autopilot. Days pass like a fast-forwarded movie, and little attention remains to perceive the weariness accumulating in the soul. We move our body and mind through endless tasks, like someone climbing a mountain without noticing the weight in their backpack. In this whirlwind, grains of essence slip through our fingers, because the rush to always be busy obscures the subtle call of our own interior. We confuse intense activity with real progress, believing that the sound of quick steps translates into true achievement. But in practice, a saturated mind loses the capacity for distinction. Urgent thoughts blend with essential desires, and the notion of what matters escapes like smoke. Neuroscience shows that an overload of stimuli keeps the prefrontal cortex overwhelmed, making it difficult to make choices aligned with our deepest value, those that echo in a space of inner silence. When your pulse quickens and your chest tightens as if time were short, a moment of opening arrives. Asking yourself what truly matters now is not an order, but an invitation to attune your heart's rhythm to the soul's tempo. In this moment of pause, the incessant flow of demands gives way to a clarity almost accustomed to hiding behind noise. Inner attention, once dispersed in 1,000 directions, rebuilds itself as a discreet but firm beacon, outlining the path that translates intention into meaningful act. How many times have you traded the essential for the urgent without even noticing? Every small interruption, a conscious sigh, a look inward, can be the spark that reignites true focus. And in this process of rediscovery, clarity establishes itself as a constant companion, reminding us that the value of existing lies not in speed, but in the depth with which we allow ourselves to live each moment. In the silence preceding the end of this journey, we recognize that the pain of being left didn't erase our worth, but tore away the veil that prevented us from seeing ourselves clearly. Every persistent emotion, every thought that seemed invasive, revealed itself as an invitation to inhabit our own heart instead of seeking others' approval. The clarity now emerging has roots in the wound itself. It springs from the courageous encounter with what hurt, transforming every point of vulnerability into a beacon capable of illuminating inner paths. Seneca reminds us that adversity serves as a stylus to the soul's search. It is in loss, in abandonment, that truths once dormant find voice and contour. Adversity precisely carves the interior, separating the essential from the superfluous, the profound from the shallow. When we accept that what harms is also what refines us, we celebrate the power of a pain that gives birth to the most vivid and lasting clarity. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditation, reinforces that truth does not measure applause. Inner clarity validates itself in its own silence. Far from the empty echo of praise and fleeting glance, it is a gift that requires no witness and consolidates on the firm ground of attention turned inward. In this intimate realm, we understand that existing doesn't depend on being seen, but on being present, on feeling every beat of our own pulse as the rhythm of a deep dance between reason and emotion. Looking in the mirror of pain, now feel the reflection of this clarity that has emerged. Ask yourself, what has this new understanding changed in me today? What small gestures of inner presence can I cultivate to feed this newly discovered light? The journey continues, and clarity remains a faithful companion, reminding us that the true value of existing is revealed not in the applause that comes from outside, but in the honesty with which we find ourselves in our own silence.